Welcome back to Go Again Gaming, and welcome back to League That Means Absolutely Nothing Season 3. We are moving on to round 4, and here you are with me, your voice of the league, Ian Holland, who is going to be taking you through another of our round 4 3-0 matchups. Today we have Verdance taking on Victor. So we have Luis Cisneros taking on Patrick Overt, Victor, high and mighty, taking on Verdance, the Thorn of the Rose. Now, very typically, much in favor of the Wizard kind of matchup because Guardians AB is customary. It's more ceremonial, as if the game goes long enough, eventually the Wizard is going to blow them up. But hey, can always go the other way. I've heard it happen plenty of times to people where the Guardian just draws the super aggressive side of their deck. Either way, there's only one way to find out what's going to happen, and that's by watching it happen. So we're going to throw it over and see if the horse himself can take on the Thorn of the Rose.
Another sponsor for the League That Means Nothing Season 3. It's Az here talking about Void Games out of Crewe in Cheshire. Tom, Big Boss Book Club on Twitter, does run this shop, and he's had some fantastic events so far. He's had Skirmish Season, of course, the ProQuest as well that we streamed on Go Again Gaming. So just a fantastic shop that's got a lot going for it, and in the future it's going to have a lot more events as well, hopefully going forward. So make sure you go and check them out when you can. Pop in the store. It's a great little shop. There might be some images or videos flashed up here for you. But thanks for Tom for sponsoring the League That Means Nothing Season 3 and being an advocate for just casually gaming in all forms of different systems and different tabletop games. So yeah, cheers Tom, and let's get on with the tournament.
So it looks like we have our Verdance going first and leading straight in with a finals fighting spirit, straight in this Icelander style battle mage, coming in for 7. No additional value to be gained because it is turn 1. But it looks like Luis has decided to just go all out here with a Nothos, Crown of Dominion, AB2. We're just going to have to get them dead, and make sure that we clear the opponent out before the game goes too long and we get whittled down by the value. Verdance, obviously, with the upside here of being able to run her armor. Downside being, I don't think Stonewall Gauntlet blocks for a huge amount in this matchup. And obviously, Plume of Evergrowth, the Storm Striders, super combo dependent. So you want to keep those very. They're 0 block, they don't block, but you need them to really close out your games. And we're leading with a pitch of a Zealous Belting for a Visit the Gold Main Estate, creating a gold, drawing a card. Obviously, without our Aurum Aegis, we don't get the immediate benefit of creating some Might tokens. And a bit strange to see a red pitch, especially a 2-cost red pitch, because that does not turn on Nothos to the best of my knowledge. Luis having a bit of a think here, pitching Macho Grande. Yeah, good old Nothos for 4. Bum, bum, bum. Wow. Sad noises, unless, of course, there's a pummel. Very importantly, pummel, one of the main pieces of combat tricks in the Guardian toolkit. If you pitch just right, you can obviously turn your Nothos into a 10 from a 4. But Patrick just leading off straight in here with a Fate Foreseen, covering that up, opting straight to the bottom. No pummel, obviously, just represented Luis showing his hand face up there with Spinal Crush, and then drawing up. And here we go straight in with the Rampant Growth Life. Very strange to see Patrick on this Waning Moon as an option instead of something more similar to Surgent Aethertide, which allows you to just combo off a little bit. But we're going to use the life gain here to amp 1, and we're going to pulsing Aether Life coming in for 5. Generally, you want to set up a turn where you rampant growth twice, then Surgent Aether Tide to amp your next arcane damage, and then dome your opponent for however much. But Patrick drawing up, having dealt a nice 5 points of damage, Victor choosing that it is more important to hold the cards in hand and try and get some threats going. It looks like just pitching. Oh, I can see why. Pitching 5 whole resources, 2 reds and a blue to send in this Spinal Crush for 9. And Verdance just going to cover it up, taking 1 point of damage, getting plenty of fodder in that graveyard to start decomposing. And just going to discard the Fruits of the Forest, gain 2. We're just going to pass through to our next turn. Opponent has attacked us for 9, and we have gone up a point of life. Pretty strong feeling for Verdance, who can just take her time setting this up. Because, again, in these situations, the onus is on Luis to close the game. So we're going to start by pitching a Thunderquake for a Zealous Belting for a 5 go again. This is a pretty stereotypical card in the aggro package of Guardian. You don't see it when it's brought in to most decks, but the 5 go again against decks where you just need as much racing power as possible, and it is met with a Rootbound Carapace to start the decomposition for the Thorn of the Rose to try and activate her hero text, which would allow her to gain life. When you gain life, deal arcane damage. So taking 1 point through this, and we're going to follow it up with a trusty Anothos for 6. 2 cards in hand. Taking a little bit of an intellect penalty because, as a general rule, Guardians quite like to be able to block with some of their cards to make sure they get maximal value out of them. But blocking 2 with this Earth form, taking a couple points here, down to 37. We're finally below our starting life total. Luis can start breathing a little bit easier. So Patrick just going to pitch into a Command and Conquer. Good card, I've heard. A lot of power in that one. So this is coming in for 6 on hit. Destroy all cards in your opponent's arsenal, and no defense reactions may be played to its chain link. So we're going to block 3 and just lose the pummel in our arsenal. So I wonder what is in hand that Luis would value more than extra life and a pummel. So it's just going to start with E-Strike for 7 and an Arson. Interesting. So Verdance going to block out, continue to just stock that graveyard. And now we have Cadaverous Tilling going to decompose again, going to come in for 8 here. Probably decomposing 3 Earth cards, so 2 Earth and an Earth action to go up to 5. Means 1 more decompose of 3 Earth cards gets us online, and we're very much well able for that. Now, When that happens, Luis is really going to be put in the blender. So let's see what cards were so critical that were more important than keeping the extra 3 points of life and the pummel. Luis says, okay, I'll go to 24. Um, I hope you can make use of all 5 cards here because that's not something that Victor famously is known for. I'll be very interested to see what we can accomplish here. Well, it's going to start by pitching a Cranial Crush and coming in with our Zealous Belting for 5 go again. Yep. And 8, definitely more than 5, so got more power, so definitely go again. Right, going to sink below, taking a point there into Golden Sun for 10 overpower here. So not bad. Definitely not a bad turn. I feel like giving up the Golden Sun to keep the pummel with the additional disruption might have been more valuable, but not famously not a Guardian player, unless that Guardian's name was the star of the show. So 10 coming in here with overpower. Verdance may block with 1 action. But if that is a non-attack action and the bark skin of the Millennium Tree, Verdance would generate a embodiment of Earth and block 6, which isn't too bad. Just checking the graveyard there. Yeah, taking the damage. Luis moving to Arsenal. And let's see, we have good old Plow Under. This is going to finally activate Verdance's hero text because I assume we're going to banish 3 Earth cards going up to the number 8, which we're looking for, and banishing that rampant growth. Not normally something you would see a Verdance choose to do. So this is going to be 6, and both players, by which I mean exclusively Luis, have had to put their arsenal to the bottom of the deck. So Luis is going to find his first clash of the game. We're going to test some strength. A Scour versus a Wallop. So we're going to get a gold and we're going to get a vigor and we're going to draw that Wallop. So don't forget our draw off that gold creation. Luis, that Wallop on top of your deck should be in your hand. Looks like we have just left it. Missing a trigger for the bingo card. So we have 1 resource floating here. Going to use it for the gold main estate. Trigger, make 3 mites. Not as good when you know your opponent has a Scour. Yeah, I think that missed draw may come back to bite Luis here. Pitching a Wallop, cracking a gold, drawing a card, possibly digging for another blue. Pitching the blue, come in. Trusty Enothos for 6. 1 floating, 2 in hand. Okay, covering up the 6. So Scour's gone. Thankfully, you get to keep your might tokens. So I wonder what Patrick has hung on to here. Pitching. Oh, that's a good one. Pitching a Warmongers, and we're going to Felling of the Crown. We're going to decompose that Felling. It's going to be 8, and both players, by which I mean Luis, again, will have to put a card from their hand to the bottom of the deck. So we're going to test of strength again. And we're going to win the test, creating a gold and drawing that. And then following it up with a sink below from Arsenal. So we've got a full block here. We've got our gold our test of strength managed to reveal one of the only things in our Victor deck, I would imagine, higher than that yellow earth. Pretty good. Red earth, even. It was a red earth form. Tunic goes to 2. Might trigger, giving our next attack this turn, our first attack this turn, +3. And it's going to be a command and conquer for 9. It's pretty good. 1 floating. 1 in hand. There's no way to pummel this one. Could be a lunging press. People joke about that, but I've seen it happen, and it is psychically devastating. So we're going to lead with our Bark Skin of the Millennium Tree, our Felling, and a Heartbeat of Candlehold. So the Candlehold, because of the creation of this embodiment of Earth, will block for 4, Felling blocks for 3, and the chest piece blocks for 2. So it's a full cover on 9, a 2-card block here. And return with one of the best 2-card hands you can present in Flesh and Blood. A good old fashioned Enlightened Strike for 7, 2-card 7. Not bad, not above rate, perfectly on rate. And Victor taking it to 15, holding some cards, probably has some plans for them, along with the Tunic resource that they will have this turn. So we're going to reveal 2 cards to our Rouse the Ancient. So it's going to be a 7 go again. Pretty good. One of the another one of the fantastic Guardian specializations generics. And let's see what we do with the rest of this hand. Pitching another 6 for Spinal Crush. So, 16 damage turn. Not too bad. Can't complain there. Just blocking 3 here is Verdance. Taking 6. So we're going to Heartbeat of Candlehold. Gain 1, gain 1, gain 1. Which also means deal 1, deal 1, deal 1. Having a bit of a think here for Luis. So now that Verdance Hero text is active, anytime she gains life on her turn, deals an arcane damage, and then following it up with Waning Moon for 2, dealing the 2, and then Sigil of Solace for 3, dealing one. Not bad. Almost had a bit of a pitch accident there from Patrick, but we'll let him away with it. It's fine. And we're going to go home, visit our dad, get some pocket money, get a little bit tougher, draw a card. So two floating, couple cards in hand, four mites if we get another turn, because we're now in danger of those storm striders just absolutely ruining our day. So going to send in this command and conquer for 6. Getting a full block here, blocking with 2 non-attacks and our chest piece to create a +2 block on that. So we're over blocking this by 8. Yeah, over blocking this by a bunch, just not leaving anything to chance as Patrick here. So we're going to heartbeat of Candlehold, and it looks like our victor is kind of caught without too many blues pitching and then taking 2 from the waning moon. Now we're at 7, and at any point, something like an emeritus scolding, which is probably what it could be in Arsenal, is just super lethal. And do we go for it? Do we take the risk? How is the best way to play this? Because if we don't do anything, those mites are going to waste, but our Verdance has kind of creeped out of reach here. Pitching, oof, taking a chance here. We're going to Golden Sun for 14 overpower. If that is indeed a... It is not. You can't block 6 there. That has overpower, bud. So just going to block 3. And with a defense reaction, cover another 4. So we're only going to be taking 7. Are we sinking a card here? So 7 plays 16 at the end of this turn, and we're going to whatever Luis was trying to set up in Arsenal doesn't really matter anymore. Here's 6 physical coming at you, decomposing, and Luis probably going to block 6 here. Just got to keep as much life total as possible because at any point you could just explode. Looks like we're just going to send in a command and conquer and say, Jesus, take the wheel. If he has it, he has it, and I am just dead. That is a rampant growth life. It's not a good start. Not looking good for our golden boy here. So we're going to gain a life, an amp equal to our life gained. Then we're going to block 3 and take 3. Thus, we're ignoring our command and conquer's any real effect here. And we're just going to send in another Enlightened Strike, probably for 7, threatening, lethal if this hits. Well, if it goes unblocked, rather. So we're going to block 3, and we're going to declare trounce. So both players are going to clash twice. If we win both clashes, then we are we going to reset the top here because this is a draw. I think you could probably put that red cadaverous tilling to the bottom and be pretty sure you're not going to hit something bigger. Yep. So 6 beats a 5. So that is 1 win. And we win that clash, we get a might. Second clash, E-Strike beats a sink below. So we get to draw this Enlightened Strike, making a gold, making a might, and making a vigor. That stays on top. There we go. I think that was the question. Patrick nearly getting rid of that sink below. So taking 1 point of damage here. I think the point of damage was missed because there we go. We're all squared. So we have 2 mites, a vigor, and we got to replace our card in hand thanks to the trance. Really, I think if you're Luis, you would love a Golden Sun right now just to threaten something. But instead, it's just going to be Enlightened Strike. Mode is going to be +2. So we're just going to send a 9 ball. 1 still floating, could be relevant. And Patrick is going to use that sink below we saw from the top and a root bend carapace to prevent 8 damage. Decomposing. Pretty strong spot here for Patrick, taking 1 point from all of that. Arsenal for Luis and draw 4. And here comes Finals Fighting Spirit. Hey, that's me. Coming in for 7. Again, life total is higher, so no life to be gained. But a big chunk of damage coming in. Luis checking Arsenal. Yes, it is indeed the same card. So we're going to block and we're going to find our other trance. So Patrick reveals Sigil. Luis reveals Wallop. Wins the first one, making a Vigor token. And Clash again. Wins again. But that's a scary one to be seeing. So we're going to make another Vigor. Another gold, drawing the Boulder drop and making a Might. Taking a point of damage again. So now with a blue Emeritus and a waning moon, or threatening 7. So Luis is going to have to be very careful this turn. 2 floating here. Let's see how he chooses to play this pitching. So it's 5 total, floating 2, and coming in with a boulder drop for 6. When this deals 4 more damage, they put a card from their hand on top of their deck. So we're just going to block 6 here. Does Luis have the pummel? And yes, he does. So that goes up to 10. Yeah, and Patrick has the root bend carapace. I feel like this must be the 15th root bend carapace because they've all just landed perfectly. So full block here from Patrick. checking the Arsenal, pitching that Emeritus to come in for a life and pulsing ether with one resource. We're paying one for the pulsing ether to deal 4 arcane damage. Pitching a blue to prevent 2 of it, taking 2, following it up with Waning Moon for 2. Probably going to do our best to prevent this. I think Luis may have missed a Tunic trigger the last turn as well, which would have been very helpful in exactly this situation. So now at 3 life, anything that deals 5 damage, even over the course of 2 spells, is just lethal here. Because we can only prevent 2 at a time. So if we can go over that over the course of a couple of turns by presenting multiple instances of 3, oh, not where you want to be. Pitching blue and a red to come in with a debilitate for 6. It reduces the power of the first attack, but depending on what you're holding, could be massive here. I don't think Luis has any cards left. So we're going to block 2, take 4. Crush is active for what it's worth, but I feel like it's not going to be worth a whole lot. Going to gain 3, threatening 1 arcane, perfect use of the tunic here. Instead, pitching and then Challenge of the Crown, yeah. Decomposing here. So coming in for 8, and Luis has to put a card from hand on the bottom of the deck. This is why use that tunic resource when you got it, guys. Taking 2 damage from the felling. Left with 2 resources left over. And I'm pretty sure this is going to be the game. Now we pass back to Patrick, who is going to buy back a card at instant speed, activate Storm Striders, and just send it for 4 arcane. And Luis is going to be taken down to 0 by it or the Waning Moon. And that is all she wrote. Pretty much how I would have drawn it up if I was to pick how this matchup was going to go. It does not favor Victor, who just can't close the game out quick enough. You need to really get underneath Verdance, and Luis was just not able to do that. There was a couple of turns where they were a little bit clunky, or in order to try and do something back, had to take a bit more damage than he would have liked. But really well played by Patrick, mixing up that arcane damage with those big physical attacks. Softeners, I believe they used to get called by the Icelander players as well. Great game, and congratulations, Patrick, on moving to 4-0. And pretty sure you're locking your top 8 spot. Not sure yet. Either way, that has been round 4 of the league. That means absolutely nothing in the 3-0 bracket. Now, one is 4-0, and one has sadly fallen to 3-1, but is still very much alive to make it all the way to the top 8 and maybe redeem himself. But if you like the video, please make sure you like the video. Comment down below. Tell Az what a great job he's doing, because he puts so much work into these. All I do is talk, which is, kind of work, but not nearly as much as the editor-in-chief of Go Again Gaming does. And if you would like to see more of the League That Means Nothing, make sure you click that subscribe button, and you will see near daily gameplay coming in, because Az works around the clock for this. I've been your host, I have been your voice of the league that means absolutely nothing. Ian Holland, aka finals_spirit on Twitter or finalspirit.bsky.social on Blue Sky. So with that, I'm going to love you, leave you, and I will see you in the next one for more great games, all that mean absolutely nothing. Goodbye.